Hello and welcome back to part 2 of TNMoC's conversation with Bruno Suster, the creator of the C++ programming language. It's celebrating its 35th birthday this year. During part 1, Bruno discussed how he hadn't actually set out to create something that went on to become one of the world's most popular programming languages, and that today is running everything from cameras to cars to supercomputers and AI. Here in part 2, Bruno tackles questions we received via Twitter using our hashtag AskTNMoC. Gene Hickman asked us, what excites you about the future of C++?
The applications, it's always the applications. And it's hard to think about the future because I don't know what's going to happen in the future that will specifically excite me. Notice I'm not talking about language features and such. Yeah. I'll say a word about that because that may be what he's thinking about. But really, if I look back, what keeps me going is things. Look at the Mars rover. Look at them finding the Higgs boson at CERN. That's exciting. That's where I feel I've done something just ever so tiny to bring the world forward. But if you're thinking about what features in the language, then I'm looking at we need better standard modules in C++23. We need better support for the coroutines in the library in 23. Maybe need some pattern matching I'm working on. Maybe make 23, maybe 26. I should probably mention that we're just getting a new standard, ISO standard, which will be called C++20. It was voted out at a meeting in Prague in February. Once ISO in Geneva gets its act together and the nations have all voted the right way, we will have an official standard in October or November. And you can use it already because most of the bits are shipping by the major manufacturers today. But I think the first part of my answer that I started talking about applications is the answer to what's exciting. Okay. Now, then I go back and see how can you make these applications better, and we do work with the language.
We have another question from Mark Liversedge. Can C++ compete with Python and R as the tool of choice for deep learning, or should it remain buried deep in the algorithms?
I would say it usually belong deep in the algorithms. The strength of R and Python is that it's fairly easy to express ideas with. It's fairly easy to do experiments. And as long as you stay at the experimental level, you can get work done quickly, try various alternatives and such. And now, if you want to apply it at scale, instead of playing with 1,000 points or 1,000 stars in astronomy or what do I know, you want to play with millions or billions, you need something that can do this stuff fast. Then you stop experimenting, you stop wanting to this instant reaction because you have to wait a little bit. You maybe need more computers, you may need to use more parts of your computer like the GPU, and then you end up with C++. Quite often you'll never see the C++ because you will use a library, you will settle on a library, you will settle on a particular use of that library after the experimentation. Then you will hit the accelerator by saying, okay, now we'll use 1 billion stars instead of a few thousand. And then C++ crunches along. You can write all of this stuff straight in C++, as people are doing it, but it's not usually the highly interactive, highly experimental uses. It's when the final version goes into the self-driving car, say, or into the flight controls on a plane. Then you freeze it, and then it's C++. The nice human-friendly interface gets stripped off. You don't want to know what software is in your car.
No, and I think that's something for years the technology industry had struggled with. They thought the technology was important, but really it's for the vertical sectors. It's They care about their technology, not what's running it to a great extent. Finally, Stephen Song, he asked us, what should I know before I learn C++?
A hard question. Depends what you're trying to do. I mean, you could start with C++. That's fine. That's being done in places. Really, the question is, what do you want to do? And then you look at, is C++ a good tool for doing that? If you know programming in any language, and then you need to go closer to the hardware, you need more efficiency, then you need C++. You pick up a book about it, preferably a short one. I wrote one for people that can already program and wants to know what C++ is so they can evaluate it to see whether it's going to help them. It's called The Tour of C++. It has the great benefit that you can read it in a weekend. It's sort of like 200 pages. But if you don't know your computing, if you don't know your programming, if you don't know your algorithms, if you don't have a clue of what a machine is, that's not what you want. You actually want to go and get that clue. You want to learn what a machine is. If you want to get to this level of stuff, you have to know a little bit about data structures. And if you can't program in the first place, you start learning how to program. You can do that in roughly any language. If you want to start in C++, it's a completely different book, somewhat thicker, which I wrote for university students, first-year students 10 years ago. It's called Programming, Principles and Practice Using C++. And the title is actually important. I'm trying to teach people how to write code, and I'm using C++ for that. And so if the kind of code you're writing is the kind of code that C++ is good at, then that's a good way of learning it. If you're doing a web app, no real engineering or user interface, you're not going to write much C++. You're going to maybe probably use it because your GUI might be implemented in C++, and your GUI generator may actually be C++. But this is not where you start if that's your application.
Well, I think that's about all we've got time for, Bjarne. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here chatting to us today. Thanks very much for taking the time.